Okay, in this video for Bio 181, it's in chapter 8, we're comparing photosynthesis and cellular respiration. So let's think about this. So I'm going to be looking inside of a plant cell because a plant cell has both. So here's a plant cell. I've got a cell wall outside, right? I've got my plasma membrane, and then I'm going to simplify the inside of the plant cell, right? And I'm going to make a couple large organelles. So I'm going to make a large organelle that is the chloroplast. So here's my chloroplast, right? This is the site of photosynthesis. And then I'm also going to create a large organelle over here. This is the mitochondria. Right? This is the site of cellular respiration. All right, so very quick overview of these reactions. So for photosynthesis, we have light coming in, right? So our energy source here is light. It's coming in and it's going to be used to create a hydrogen ion gradient in these regions in the chloroplast called thylakoids. So hydrogen ions are going to be placed in these little bags, making a battery. Okay. It's the energy from the light that has been used to make this little battery. And the light splits water. Okay. The electrons are going through an electron transport system, and that pumps in hydrogen ions. The electrons ultimately go to NADPH, which is an electron carrier that's going to take these high energy electrons to the next stage. They also, this hydrogen ion gradient also creates ATP. So these little, I'm drawing this kind of small here, but this is ATP synthase. The hydrogen ions are going to move through it to get out. That's going to create ATP. ATP is then going to be used in the next reaction. So this process of chemiosmosis and the generation of ATP is important, and it's going to be similar to cellular respiration. In cellular respiration, and let me just finish this up really quick so I'm completing it. So these molecules then are used, okay, from the light reactions to power the process that fixes carbon dioxide and ends up making glucose, okay? So carbon dioxide is fixed. It's combined with another 5-carbon molecule in a process called reduction. We're actually going to add the energy. So the energy from the electrons comes over here, and the energy from ATP comes over here in the Calvin cycle. It's going to be added to a molecule that is, it starts off as PGA and it ends up as G3P, okay? The electrons and the ATP add to it, and then it ends up making glucose. So you have high energy product, high energy. All right, in the mitochondria, right, we are going to start with glucose. So we're starting with glucose. Glucose is actually found out here in the cytoplasm. And in the first step in pyruvate oxidation, we're going to break this down into pyruvate. And in this process, we're going to make some electron carriers, NADH, and we're going to make a little bit of ATP. Then we take the pyruvate, which is a 3-carbon molecule, move it all the way into the center of the mitochondria. And then in here, we go through pyruvate oxidation. So we take pyruvate and we break it down into a smaller molecule. It's called acetyl. So then that's combined with an enzyme to stabilize it, ACCETYL-CoA, okay? And then we take that, and the next one in what's called the citric acid cycle, and we break it down further. Whoops, citric acid cycle. In this process, we're creating carbon dioxide, which diffuses out as a byproduct. So carbon dioxide diffuses out as a byproduct here. The whole point of most of this reaction is to generate electron carriers. So we're generating NADH and we're generating FADH2. Those molecules then take the electrons and they take those electrons and they take it to the electron transport chain. So the electron transport chain is in the inner mitochondrial membrane. Those electrons use the energy to create a hydrogen ion gradient, which is the exact same thing that happened in the thylakoids in photosynthesis. They create this gradient. Those positive hydrogen ions want to get out away from each other. They're allowed to do that if they go through a molecule called ATP synthase. So when they go back down, they create ATP, yay, and that is the purpose, okay? So again, this process here is also chemiosmosis. So chemiosmosis, chemiosmosis. So similar points for these, we have the electron carriers, right? So let me see, what color can I use? Maybe orange here. So I've got the electron carriers in both that are shuttling high energy electrons from one place to another. NADPH is the one in photosynthesis. NADH and FADH2 are the ones in cellular respiration. We generate a hydrogen ion gradient in both of those. The location is the thylakoid membrane over in photosynthesis, and it's in the intermembrane space. So the intermembrane space in mitochondria, membrane space. Okay. So both of those are going to be used to create ATP. And of course, the reactants and the products are reversed for these. So in photosynthesis, we start with CO2. We've got 6 of those. We have 6 water. We've got light. Those combine to create glucose, C6H12O6, and byproduct of oxygen gas. So it's 6O2. The oxygen gas, in this case, diffuses out as a byproduct. Okay. The opposite reaction of this is cellular respiration. So cellular respiration over here, I would start with glucose. Where am I going to write it? So I'm going to start with glucose, C6H12O6. I'm adding 6 molecules of oxygen. Then cellular respiration results in creating 6 molecules of carbon dioxide and 6 molecules of water. In addition, it creates ATP. So the only difference between this reaction and this reaction, right, in terms of the molecules that are involved, if we look to the energy molecules, light is occurring in photosynthesis and ATP is occurring in cellular respiration. So the purpose of cellular respiration is to make ATP, right? The purpose of photosynthesis is to make sugar, okay? That is the purpose. So we're capturing light energy, making sugar, okay? Purpose is to make sugar, right? To store that chemical energy. And then the purpose of cellular respiration is to take that sugar and make ATP out of it, right? So to make ATP. All right. Hopefully that's not too messy. I tried to do it fast. That is the comparison between photosynthesis and cellular respiration.